Joseph Murphy dedicated decades to teaching that financial prosperity is not determined by chance, but the result of the dominant vibration that each person creates in their mental field. When Murphy researched families that struggled against prolonged monetary difficulties, he noticed an intriguing yet unsettling pattern. These families transported, without perceiving it, an energetic field of economic restriction that resurfaced through successive generations, like a corrupted file playing non-stop the same frequency of limitation. Murphy termed this process vibrational transmission. He recognized that any family possesses a specific vibration linked to financial resources, a frequency that is passed down through attitudes, unspoken convictions and feelings regarding financial difficulties. This ancestral energy acts like a veiled instruction, establishing not just what value a person can acquire, but also their deep relationship with plenty. Murphy grasped that several of the monetary impediments that he detected did not originate in ineptitude or misfortune, but merely in the received pattern that each person incorporated from a very young age. This understanding fully revolutionized the methodology that Murphy considered financial change. Instead of teaching merely ways to conquer wealth or investment systems, Murphy concentrated on a more fundamental principle, reformulating the vibrational pattern relating to money that every being absorbed from their lineage. Murphy described extraordinary stories of clients who managed to overcome this inherited vibration through specific procedures of mental reprogramming. One of these examples focused on a businessman identified as Roberto, whose family went through a repetitive cycle of bankruptcy that lasted for generations. His progenitor had experienced the loss of all his fortune in a ruinous venture. His father had endured failed businesses, and Roberto, even if dedicating himself to work obsessively, encountered himself recreating this identical sabotaging pattern. Whenever he was able to collect some significant amount of capital, an event manifested in an inexplicable way, and the individual saw everything vanish. It gave the impression that an invisible force was an unknown force harming his conscious efforts. Murphy dedicated himself to training Roberto for several months, showing him an essential truth that would be central in his entire thought. The hidden mind does not make a distinction between money you deserve and wealth your ancestors believe to be worthy. If in your inner self exists the vibration that fortune is dangerous, that prospering is risky, that monetary stability is deceptive or a hoax, therefore your subconscious will function incessantly to keep you in this frequency because it appears to be the absolute truth. The subconscious mind does not ask questions. It merely executes the instructions that were fixed in your mind through family experience. Roberto at last comprehended that he was not lazy or deficient. He was formatted, and psychic structures can be deconditioned. Murphy clarified that when you change the vibration that prevails in your mind, you modify the directive that you emit to your subconscious. It equates to restoring a device that was operating with aged software which is defective. If the software stays established to welcome uniquely a particular amount of wealth, then that is exactly what you will earn without depending on how much you work. Murphy proved this mechanism via deep visualization techniques that he had developed through years. He taught his patients to dedicate about 5 to 10 minutes daily in the morning, if possible, immediately upon waking, when the psyche is situated in an alpha state of openness, mentally evoking not just the arrival of resources in their lives, but fundamentally the internal living of solidity, authentic confidence and worthiness that accompanies this flow. Murphy insisted absolutely that this feeling was the essential key. It was not the capital independently that mattered for the transformation. It was the resonance that the individual formed in relation to money. With Roberto, Murphy started a process that he called Ancestral vibrational transmutation, a practice that he had developed through various proven cases. Roberto had to, for 8 weeks, reserve a quarter of an hour every night when going to sleep in a deep meditative state. In this sacred space, Roberto should identify with total clarity the complete financial history of his ancestors. He should imagine his close ancestor facing the economic disaster, his father facing bankrupt businesses, and all this ancestral lineage who came in his lineage taking like patterns. Then, on the mental plane, Roberto should express with genuine feeling, I identify your history. I tribute with admiration your suffering. I recognize the importance of the path you walked and the difficulties you faced, but now, in this sacred moment, I release this resonance of scarcity from my mind. I institute a new vibration for my family. Henceforth, on my path, flow, prosperity, and financial certainty constitute the main vibration that governs my trajectory and my reality. Murphy observed meticulously that when Roberto did this with genuine sincerity, with true emotional feeling that involved his whole being, something extraordinary began to happen in the external world. Roberto's financial situations began to reorganize subtly, but surely. An opportunity that Roberto would have previously rejected out of fear or mistrust came to be seen under a new, illuminated perspective. An old client returned with a substantial project. An unexpected scholarship for his daughter appeared at the exact moment when her education was a financial concern. None of this was coincidence, Murphy explained with conviction. It was simply the natural and inevitable consequence of an altered vibration. When you change your internal vibration, the entire universe needs to reorganize itself to correspond to this new frequency you have established. People, opportunities, resources, everything begins to align differently in your life. Murphy formulated a law that he called Law of Vibrational Correspondence, an axiom that he had proven in hundreds of experiences. This law states simply that the external reality always responds exactly to the dominant inner world. If in your interior you resonate with genuine dread of poverty, then the surrounding environment will present constantly situations that reinforce this terror and confirm your limiting thought. If in your psyche prevails true faith in your natural wealth, then the surrounding environment will present openings that expand and amplify this certainty. The most innovative point of this truth is that it performs regardless of your current situation or your antecedents. Someone who carries heavy debts, who alters their dominant vibration to wealth, will begin over weeks to observe small changes that are observable. These transformations are constantly discreet in the initial phases, but are signs of a genuine transmutation. An unlikely expense is avoided because you opt to avoid making a purchase on impulse. An opportunity presents itself because you remained in better mental state to communicate with a key individual. Your whole body commences to oscillate in a distinct vibrational pattern. Murphy had a special interest in the family aspect of this transformation because he had observed an extraordinary phenomenon repeatedly. When a person changes their vibration and manages to maintain this change for a sufficient period, the entire family dynamic begins to reorganize deeply. Children who were struggling financially begin to prosper unexpectedly. Parents who faced chronic difficulties find new solutions and paths. It is as if this person, by raising their own vibration, pulled the entire lineage to a new vibrational level. Murphy explained this as a principle of family resonance. When a musical instrument begins to vibrate at a specific frequency, all other nearby instruments naturally begin to vibrate at the same frequency, even without physical contact. Likewise, when you establish a vibration of prosperity within you, all those energetically linked to you naturally begin to enter into resonance with this elevated frequency you created. To trigger this change of vibration that was continuous and transforming, Murphy instituted a method composed of 3 stages that he considered extremely vital for success. The first phase is the process Murphy referred to conscious ancestral recognition, and he emphasized that it was ineffective to advance without realizing genuinely this first step. In this pass, you need to expend time genuinely understanding the complete financial trajectory of your lineage. This does not signify holding responsible your ancestors or rebuffing them with negative frequency. It implies simply understanding with perfect clarity what they experienced, the intense pains that they lived through, the patterns that they formed as a survival strategy in difficult times. Murphy noted that many individuals sought to pretend this uncomfortable trajectory, tried to pretend there was nothing, and this blocked irreversibly the real transformation. It is truly impossible to liberate oneself from what you deny consciously to see. Murphy oriented his patients to start this simple practice, which is revolutionary. In the night period, if possible before sleep when the mind is more permeable, Position yourself in deep silence. Perform breaths deeply for some moments, and on the mental plane reflect deeply on your family. Visualize the forms of your ancestors. Accept the obstacles that they experienced. Express on the mental plane with honesty a declaration like, "I recognize that you, the one who begot me, faced deep losses that produced deep fear in your core. I accept that you, my progenitor, instituted survival mechanisms that propagated forward over generations." Murphy explained that this recognition is deeply healing on a spiritual and psychological level. By recognizing the story, you take this story out of the unconscious, where it operates silently controlling your actions, and bring it to the full light of consciousness. In this clear light, it loses the power to control you automatically. It ceases to be something that controls you like a puppet, and becomes something you see with absolute clarity, and can choose to transform. Murphy used to say with emphasis that nothing that remains unconscious can be truly transformed. Everything that is brought to consciousness can be worked on, can be dissolved, can be rewritten in a completely different way. This first stage should be practiced for at least 2 weeks every day with genuine emotion and complete attention. The second stage of Murphy's method is what he called declared vibrational disconnection, and he was absolutely clear about its critical importance. In this stage, after consciously recognizing the ancestral story, you must declare with authority that this vibration of limitation will no longer be the dominant force of your life. Murphy was not in favor of a vague or intellectual approach in this stage. He demanded genuine emotion, clear intention, and deep commitment, not just to the words but to real transformation. After recognition, still in your moment of silence at night, Murphy instructed his clients to place their hand over their heart and say with unshakable emotional firmness, "I completely release the vibration of scarcity that was inherited through generations. I unlink my conscious mind from every pattern of financial limitation that belonged to my ancestors. I allow my soul to be the genuine and true origin of my prosperity and abundance. From this moment, the dominant vibration I establish and maintain is that of conscious abundance, genuine confidence, and unlimited flow." Murphy explained that this declaration works because it establishes a new power in your interior. You do not remain repudiating your ancestors or your trajectory. You are just realizing your legitimate right as a conscious creature who is independent to choose a new frequency. Murphy had observed countless cases proven where this declaration, when executed with true emotional sincerity, created an energetic cut so powerful and radical that perceptible alterations began in a few days. He maintained documented examples where clients described vibrant dreams and exceptional dreams right after the confession. Dreams in which their forebears gave the impression of to accept this alteration with quiet approval and vibrational acquiescence. Even though Murphy revealed himself a rigorous scholar who was meticulous in his general approach, he accepted that there existed events that surpassed merely material understanding and analytical logic. The third stage is the one Murphy considered absolutely the heart and soul of the entire vibrational transformation. He called it continuous vibrational re-establishment, and it was in this stage that the real work of rewriting your financial reality happened. In this stage, you not only dissolve the old problematic vibration, but actively establish a new vibration that becomes your dominant pattern. Murphy was extremely specific and precise about how to do this to achieve real results. After the declaration of disconnection, still in their deep and receptive meditative state, Murphy instructed his clients to visualize a field of golden, luminous, and living energy completely enveloping their heart, radiating to their entire body. This field is not vague or abstract. It is real, intensely felt in the body, palpable like a transforming physical presence. Murphy frequently asked his clients to describe in precise detail how this golden field felt in their physical body. Some described gentle and comforting heat. Others described deep and enveloping safety. Still others described an extraordinary sensation of expansion and freedom. While he kept this sharp image and experienced, Murphy instructed with determination, "Say internally with total conviction, my preponderant frequency now becomes awakened abundance. My bodily structure vibrates integrally with economic confidence. My subconscious mind remains fully reconditioned to welcome with generosity, to deserve fully and to maintain permanently fullness. My aura is aligned perfectly with opening, inexhaustible current and unlimited growth. The lack that was passed forward dissolved completely definitively. The opulence that constitutes my natural spiritual legacy installs itself now as the definitive condition of my existence. Murphy underlined indisputably that these affirmations must be said not automatically out of habit or superficially, but with genuine deep emotion, with authenticity that surges from the core, as if you found yourself manifesting the most vital affirmation and fundamental of your complete life. Murphy observed that this third stage is exactly where most people faced significant difficulties in the process. They managed to do the first two stages with some success, but in the third stage, the rational mind began to doubt and question. How can I say I am prosperous if I have significant debts? How can I say my vibration is abundance if my bank account tells another story of limitation? How can I declare what only my current reality denies? Murphy had a clear and transformative answer for this. He explained that the rational mind does not govern true reality. Vibration governs reality. The rational mind is merely a tool that describes retroactively what vibration has already created. If you want to change what the rational mind describes, you must first change the vibration at the root. Murphy used a potent and transformative metaphor. He said that vibration is like the root of a tree, and visible financial results are like the branches, leaves, and flowers. If you only look at the visible branches and try to change the tree by pruning the branches, you will never achieve real or lasting change. But if you change the fundamental root, the whole tree changes inevitably. Murphy suggested that this third stage be practiced each day, without failures, for 40 days at minimum in sequence. He had determined 40 days, for he had observed in multiple cases that it was specifically the necessary duration for a new frequency to install itself definitively as the prevailing pattern in the deep field of the subconscious mind. The first 14 days relate to establishment and fixation of the transformed energy. The new vibrational pattern still demonstrates itself as weak and transitory. It still fights powerfully with the old frequencies that try to persist. During days 15 until 28, something radically alters and frees itself. The new frequency commences slowly to conquer real strength, to live more organic and authentic, truer to your deep being. In days 29 to 40, the new frequency finally firms itself as the preponderant frequency that determines your behaviors. Ended 40 days of regular execution and heartfelt practice, Murphy stated that his disciples described an emotional change so substantial that it was visible even to outside spectators. The dread that paralyzes concerning money dwindled deeply until dissipating. The shame of growing financially and accepting disappeared completely. A certainty which was quiet, genuine and unbreakable in the coming prosperity, started to arise fluidly from your core. Murphy had a particular and very effective method to help his clients maintain absolute consistency during these critical 40 days. He recommended they keep a simple and honest journal. Each night, after completing the full ritual of the 3 stages, they should briefly note what they felt and observed, not for heavy intellectual analysis, but simply to deepen the experience and root it. Murphy observed that when people recorded their experience in words, the practice became more concrete, more real, more irrefutable. He also recommended that during these 40 days of transformation, people be particularly attentive to the small signs of change that appeared. A small but significant opportunity that arose unexpectedly, an unexpected expense that was providentially avoided, a casual conversation with someone that led to an interesting and unexpected possibility. Murphy taught that vibrational change does not typically begin with spectacular and dramatic results. It begins, always, with small synchronicities indicating that vibration is genuinely changing at the deepest level. Murphy reiterated a crucial aspect that many ignored completely when executing. Throughout these 40 days of rigorous fulfillment, the practical actions likewise carry fundamental weight. The resonance establishes the solid base. Nevertheless, you continue needing to have the valor in acting. If an opportunity manifests on your life path, you need to develop the valor to explore it authentically. If a thought appears about how to raise your earnings or to amplify your income sources, you need to find yourself prepared to implement it with decision. Murphy termed this aligned action, and it remained totally indispensable. It forms the movement that sprouts fluidly as your vibration has changed to plenty. This act is deeply different from the desperate action based in dread. It is action that is confident, crystal clear, instinctive, and exact. Murphy observed that when those who sought him sustained the adequate vibrational pattern and proceeded consistently in synchronization with this vibration, the doors opened in multiple ways that previously presented themselves absolutely impossible or even miraculous. The path that Murphy presented was substantially a trajectory of authentic liberation and genuine. It did not represent escape from true obstacles. It represented facing the real situation that you were conditioned by inherited vibrational pattern and resolving consciously and with strength to change this frequency completely. It constituted understanding that you shelter supreme capacity not only to change your own living, but to transcend the entire path and coming destiny of all your lineage. This recognition represents authentic power in its deepest sense, not that capacity uniquely to subjugate or to win against adversaries, yet the real power to transform, to modify vibrational pattern, to surpass old ties. This principle, Murphy professed with absolute certainty, constitutes the authentic liberation which is material and sacred that every conscious creature yearns for.